Hello everyone, welcome to William in the Magic Box. Today on our show, we are going to have Adam. Adam is from England in the UK. So let's see what Adam has to say. Enjoy the interview.
Hey, William.
Hello, hello Adam, how are you?
Very good. How are you? It's
Very
Ribeiro, William Ribeiro. Is that how I
William
pronounce it?
Ribeiro.
Ribeiro, right? Okay. I lived in Portugal for a while. My ex-girlfriend's surname was Ribeiro. I could never
Really?
pronounce it.
Oh my God, actually she was my sister. I'm joking.
Man, that would have been a turn up for the books.
And where's about in Portugal you were living before?
Braga.
Oh my God, I lived in Porto for 5 years before moving to England.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? Yeah, yeah. I spent a bit of time in Porto. I love the city.
Yeah, Braga is beautiful. I've been in Braga, I've been in Guimarães as well, not far from Braga. So it's love Portugal. Portugal always gonna be my heart for sure.
Are you Brazilian?
I'm from Brazil, originally from
Yeah,
Brazil.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So tell me, how's your weekend going so far?
Good. I'm engaged in a bit of writing at the moment. I'm in what you call a flow state right now,
Uh-huh.
which means all of my mental skills are perfectly aligned, and I'm enjoying the work that I'm doing, which is a really really nice feeling that I work with people to try and achieve this flow state. So yeah, when I achieve it myself, I capitalize on it and get as much work done as I possibly can.
That's amazing. So tell me, what was the highlight of your week just finished now?
Oh, well, I yeah, I've been doing a little bit more social media content and overcoming some personal challenges.
Okay.
So I one of my skills is I'm a videographer. I'm always making content for other people. But
Right.
when it comes to me speaking on camera, I find it really awkward and very difficult, you know? And my profession is I'm a hypnotherapist, a clinical hypnotherapist. So the answer was obvious. I thought, well, I need to do some work with myself to overcome this obstacle.
Yeah.
So I did a 20-minute self-hypnosis session and I got in front of the camera and everything that I wanted to say came out perfectly. I
Uh-huh.
didn't need to write anything down. I didn't need to overthink it. I didn't need to make a script. I didn't need to second guess myself. And then it was quite evident to me that I've just maybe quadrupled my productivity. So that was
Amazing.
my win this week.
Love it. I love that. I think sometimes challenge ourselves, we can find a different way of seeing ourselves. I think
Mhm.
it's amazing. I love that. I'm glad that you did that. I'm
Yeah,
glad.
me too. Me too. It's good to know that the things you're doing for other people also work on yourself too.
Totally. And where are you from,
Well, I'm
Adam?
from a town called Middlesbrough, which is in the northeast of the UK.
Okay.
We keep winning the award of worst place to live in the UK.
Oh my God.
So it's an old industrial town with no industry. It used to be quite a wealthy place. You know, everybody had good work, good opportunities. But as the industry moved overseas, the town is seeing a decline.
Right.
I'm in Leeds right now. I'm living in Leeds. Before this, I spent 6 years in Ibiza. I spent 6 months in Portugal, as I've explained. So I haven't lived in Middlesbrough since about 2012.
Okay.
So I've been moving around a little bit, but I'm from my heart is from Middlesbrough, although the town itself is quite rough around the edges. The people there are amazing. They're just so funny and creative. They've got all of these things against them, all of these problems, yet they always find a way to do something cool and interesting. And there's some really cool things happening in Middlesbrough at the moment in the world of film and entertainment. So it's a
Wow.
town to keep an eye on.
If I'll go there for the very first time, tell me a place that I shouldn't miss it. What's maybe the
Hmm.
postcard of the city, or maybe what's your favorite, bit of it?
Hmm. Good question. There's not much there, to be honest. It's like I said, it's an industrial town and the industry has disappeared. The iconic thing to see is the Transporter Bridge.
Okay.
That's what comes to mind. The Transporter Bridge is a very unique bridge. It's kind of like it's on legs with a large platform above, and then under this platform there are cables that come down with a platform on it. So you would get 4 or 5 cars on it, and the platform would move across the bridge like in a cradle. So it's
That's
quite it's
amazing.
quite unique, and it's one of our
Wow.
iconic views. but I don't think it's working at the moment. So if you
Oh,
if you were to go to Middlesbrough and you want to experience something about Middlesbrough, I would say just go to any pizza shop and order what's called a chicken parmo. It's kind of like our food. It's a chicken fillet deep fried in breadcrumbs with bechamel sauce and melted cheese over the top of it, served in a pizza box with chips and sometimes cream cabbage.
I'm down for it. That's
I
it.
think you'd enjoy
That's
it.
it.
But don't eat
Right.
too many because you will get fat.
Once in a while, I'm gonna go there to visit. You show me around. I'm gonna eat. Crossing the bridge
Hmm.
when it starts working again. Right. As you mentioned already about your profession, so tell me a little bit about it.
So how this happened was a really strange set of circumstances that led me to where I am now. So I was in Ibiza and I was doing a really different job to what I do now. I was involved in the music industry and we were running retreats for music producers who wanted to learn how to make house and techno, but they wanted to be taught by famous house and techno producers. So we
Right.
had people like Steve Bug, Josh Wink, Marshall Jefferson, David Morales, all of these superstars in this villa teaching our students how to make music. But what happened was there was a theft from the business. Everything kind of went a bit wrong, and I found myself working with a different company, and they were working on a sensor that could tell us what your nervous system was doing when you listen to music. The only,
Wow.
the only thing is, they didn't know what to do with this sensor. It was a team of scientists, a team of psychologists, hypnotherapists, and musicians, and they were researching music's effect on physiology. I thought this was super, super cool. And I had a meeting with this guy. I did helped him with his website. And he said, yeah, we've got this and this is what it can do, but we don't know how to turn it into a product. And I
Hmm.
said, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this. And he said, yeah, this is what we need. Would you consider coming on the board as a director and helping us turn this into a product? So the next step was we had this sensor, and this sensor could tell us what's happening with our nervous system when we're listening to music, and also what happens when we breathe, what's happening with our breath. So we
Right.
developed a breathwork program. So the idea, William, is you put this sensor on your finger and it tells us exactly what's going on with your heart as you breathe in and breathe out. And then we
Wow.
can find out what the perfect breathing rhythm and speed is for you to take your nervous system from freaked out and panicked to relaxed and chilled. And it's
Wow.
called resonant frequency breath work. So we thought that we'd found this amazing thing that could help humanity. But that's not where the story ended. What happened was we were working with really astute, hardworking individuals, but they were stressed out and they couldn't sleep and they were having all these problems. Then they were doing the breath work, and the breath work was helping them sleep. It was taking their stress levels down. So we thought that we'd unlocked a secret of human potential. But then 2 weeks later, we would speak to these people to see if they were still experiencing this change. And strangely enough, they'd stopped doing the breath work,
Wow.
which was weird because it only takes 5 minutes a day to get all of those benefits. So I said to my partners who've been doing this for 5 years, I said, what the hell is going on? Like they told us that they have problems with sleep, they have problems with anxiety and stress, and we fixed the problem, and you only need to invest 5 minutes a day, but they're still not doing it. And my partner looked at me, he said, yeah, this is programming. And I was like, well, what do you mean programming? He said, well, this is the human condition. You have a disconnect between your conscious will and your subconscious imagination. And I'm like, what? He said, yeah. He says, when you self-sabotage. I'm like, yeah. He says, when you know that you shouldn't be doing something, but you do it anyway. And then you ask yourself, why do I do this?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I do that all the time, and I don't understand. He said, yeah, this is the conscious and the subconscious when they're opposed to each other. The subconscious will always win. So I started to research the subconscious, and my partner said to me, you should study in hypnotherapy because that is how
Hmm.
you program the subconscious. So I was like, okay. So you're telling me that I can program my mind to do what I want? And he said, yes. And he was so relaxed and nonchalant about it that I thought,
Wow.
I need to do this. So I got in touch with a guy that we'd worked with called Dr. John Butler. And Dr. John Butler is kind of famous in the world of hypnotherapy. If you search for him on YouTube, you'll find a video of him having an operation with no anesthesia. No
Oh my God.
anesthesia. He did self-hypnosis to turn off his pain response and then laid there and consciously had a hernia operation on himself. And he did it for the BBC live. So
Oh
the
my God.
so the guy is an absolute master of controlling his own mind. And that's who trained me. And Dr. John is phenomenal. He's been in the world of hypnotherapy since the 60s. So I'm trained by a really, really high pedigree. And even when I'm going through the training with him, he's just so matter of fact about how easy it is to program the mind. So much so that I wasn't confident coming out of the training. I thought it can't be this simple. It can't be, you know. But I started working with people. So I went back to some of the people that I'd worked with in the past and said, I've got something I want to work with. I want something I want to bring to the table, and explain what it was about. We did some programming, and then all of a sudden the breath work was irrelevant because sleep was not a problem anymore. I can help people get better sleep.
Wow.
Anxiety was no longer a problem because I could make them feel calm. And that's how I ended up where I am now. So within the space of a couple of years, one minute I'm in a villa full of techno producers making music. Then I'm in a company which is using music to change the nervous system. And now I'm programming the entire human through the mind. It's a bizarre journey.
Oh my God, I love the journey. Not just that, it just made my day. I learned something new. I never heard about this doctor and the fact that they had this surgery without anesthetic. Oh my God, just I didn't know that. I'm gonna check it out for sure. That's amazing. I love
Definitely.
it.
I mean, all pain is in the brain. So when you experience pain in your finger, it's not the finger that hurts, it's the response from the brain to the
Wow,
finger. So you experience it in your finger, but it's all actually in the brain. So you can
that's
turn down the response to pain, and you can help people who have chronic pain conditions with hypnosis, you know?
wow,
So there's hope out there, but the problem with hypnosis and hypnotism is when you think about hypnosis, you have an image in your mind of a guy with a cape on who's going to control your mind and and you've seen movies where people have been
yeah,
hypnotized to commit murders and it couldn't be further from the truth, you know? And that's the weirdest thing about my job is the first 20 minutes I have to tell them that what they think is not real and then show them what is real.
wow,
And quite often they'll come out of a session and say, yeah, that was really relaxing. I felt so relaxed and it was wonderful, but I don't think I was hypnotized because I could hear everything that you were saying.
wow,
And then I look at that and I go, okay, that's okay. I'll speak to you next week. The following week, I'll be like, how did you get on last week? Oh my God, everything's changed. I'm no longer anxious in this situation. This
wow.
happened and that happened. And then this, but I still don't think I was hypnotized.
I love that. I
Yeah.
love it. Amazing. Thanks for sharing that, Adam. Thank you. Adam, before I start the interview, I always ask my guests on the show to bring something that means a lot to them. So that could be a gift, could be a picture, could be an object. There's anything you could share with us?
Yeah, I've got this. This is my grandfather's beret. Um,
Oh,
this has been with me to 10 different homes in 3 different countries. Um, my grandfather wore this when he was in the military, and I joined the army because of my grandfather when I was 17. He influenced me in a lot of ways. My grandfather was a really unique character. He was a big family man. He loved his kids and his grandkids. He did everything for them. He was a strong, opinionated man, but he was also a really silly man as well. He was a trickster and a prankster. He was always playing practical jokes on us, and you never knew whether or not what he was saying was real because sometimes he would start a story and it would get really emotional, and at the end, it was all just a joke, you know? So you never
oh,
knew whether he was telling you the truth or not, or whether to take him seriously or not. So this beret is a reminder to me to be dutiful and to be strong, but also not to take myself too seriously. And I take it with me everywhere I go.
that's amazing, Adam. And you know what? I think our family members, we love them, our parents, our siblings, our friends, people around us.
Hmm.
But our connection with our grandparents, it's something special. It's something unique, different. It's something that, there's something about them that we feel safe. We can be ourselves because they're going to protect us. It's so interesting, the connection with grandparents. I love it. So thanks for sharing
Yeah.
that. Love that.
You're welcome. You're
Great.
welcome.
Are you ready to go on a beautiful journey through memories in life and share your point of views?
I am.
Amazing. Welcome to William and the Magic Box. So I have here my best friend. Of random fun questions. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to play a song just for us to relax before the first question, okay?
Love it.
You know what? When I said, are you ready to go on a beautiful journey? I felt like I was hypnotizing you.
That's exactly what hypnotism is. It's about going on a journey in your
I was
mind.
about, when I started saying the word, I felt, oh my God, now it's my turn to do the job. I love it. Let's do it. Right, before I start the interview, during the journey, if it comes up a question that you don't want to talk about or you don't want to answer, always can take another one, okay?
Mhm.
Amazing. First question is, what scares you the most about your future?
Ooh. Getting to the end of my life and looking at all of the chances I didn't take, all of the missed opportunities.
And aging for you is something that bothers you or you just see as a matter of life?
I quite like the aging process because I'm less of an idiot than I was a few years ago. And I know
Wow.
that in 5 years' time, I might be older. I might have less, well, I couldn't possibly have less hair, but I might have more white hair, but I'll be a little bit more in tune with who I am, a little bit more comfortable with who I am. And
Wow.
the aging process scares a lot of people.
Yeah.
They kind of feel like their best years over and done with as they approach 30. I remember approaching 30 thinking, oh, my best years are over. And my 30s were transformational. And now I'm almost halfway through my 40s, and my 40s are more transformational than my 30s. The one piece of advice I can give anyone who's concerned about aging, specifically men, is you have a narrow window to make sure that your body is equipped to get older. Because if you're not physically fit as you leave your 30s into your 40s, it's going to be very difficult to undo some of the damage you've done to your body. So
Wow.
as you go through your 20s, enjoy yourself, party. If you find yourself partying a little bit too much, like I did, then calm it down as you go into your 30s. And then
Wow.
make sure that your 30s are spent building a resilient, strong body, build that lean muscle mass, because it's like a pension scheme for the future. The more muscle you've got as you enter your 40s, the more longevity you're going to have in your life.
Wow.
So yeah, aging, I don't fear aging. But I do fear not doing what's required when I've got the opportunity to do it.
And if you could be any age for the rest of your life, what age would you choose and why?
Mm, it's a good question. Maybe 28.
Interesting. And why is that? Why 28?
Because I feel at 28 I'd gathered enough life skills to not be such a moron. But I've
Wow.
also got a level of energy and vitality that is unsurpassed, you know. And it's just before that milestone of 30s. You're kind of like you're considered a young person, but you're on the upper end of knowing what you're talking about. Because at 21, you don't know anything, you know.
No.
And if you're watching this and you're 21 and that triggers you, I apologize. But you will know this. You'll know this next year. You'll realize you know nothing, and then the following year you'll realize you know nothing.
And right now, we know nothing anyway.
The more you know, the less you know.
That's for sure. I think age, I love aging. I think aging, it's a beautiful thing, being, when you say, my God, I'm 43, I'm 40 that, I'm 50, I'm 60, it's a blast, you know what I mean? Because some people, sadly, they didn't have the opportunity to be that age, to reach that age. And I understand, sometimes you go to the gym, you go like, 10 years ago, I didn't feel that pain. 15 years ago, I could do that faster. I get that.
Hmm.
But it just, I love embracing age, my age. I love to say the age I am, and I get it. And I think it's a beautiful thing. And of course, nowadays, the 50 is the new 30, you know what I mean? There's always, it's a different world right now. I think people, they have more joys. I remember growing up, seeing my grandmother. She was 40 something at the time, and I
Hmm.
look at her. I thought she was so old, and now, like, not like physically, but in my sense of aging nowadays, 40. My God, is starting a life. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It's
Yeah.
such a
They're also making developments in science where they may be able to reverse the aging process. We're
yeah.
getting really, really close to that happening. But that makes me think like if you could stop the aging process and live forever, would you want to live forever? You know?
Great question, actually. Great question. I love life, Adam. I love life. I love being here, but I'm not sure if I would. You know what I mean? I think if you, I don't know, maybe you'll be bored. I don't know. It's difficult. It's difficult because I think people who enjoys life like I do, I just like, oh my God, it's such a gift every morning when I wake up. Like, my God, it's such an amazing being here. So yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
Let's do
Yeah.
next question. Let's do it. Okay, next question for you is: what are three fun facts about yourself?
Ooh, fun facts. Obviously, my job, I'm a hypnotherapist. I hypnotize people for a living and help them change. That's always a fun fact, good conversation starter. In a former life, I used to be a firewalking instructor. So I
Wow.
used to teach people to walk barefoot over hot coals, and we were raising money for a children's cancer charity. So that was a strange job that I've had. Other fun facts. I'm trying to think of what's what's appropriate for this channel. Um, uh, yeah, like I said, I've spent some time working with my musical heroes quite closely in Ibiza. So
Wow.
some of my favorite DJs and producers that I've spent my entire life following all of a sudden became my colleagues. So that was a fun fact that I've got to experience that. I've
Wow.
always just kind of done what I wanted to do without worrying about safety, you know.
Okay.
And it's taken me on some on in some strange directions in my life.
Wow. What's the biggest joy of being Adam? What do you like the most about being you?
How little I worry about things that seem to terrify other people.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, it's not always a good thing, specifically in relationships, because the things that terrify other people, I just they don't worry me. So
Wow.
I can be considered to be quite insecure in that respect, you know? Um, but I have a faith that whatever I put my mind on, I will achieve it. So if you can just deal with the horrors of being with me for a short period of time, then you will get the reward of seeing where I take us, you know?
Tell me about your first kiss and your first crush.
Oh, whoa. My first kiss was outside of a school somewhere, in my hometown. It was nothing major. My first crush, wow. My first crush was in primary school. I was obsessed with a girl.
Uh-huh.
And then one day she came in, she had really long hair and it was in a plait. And then one day she came in and she had a bob. And then she was no longer my crush. Yeah.
I think her hair was your crush, not.
Maybe. I think I just realized quite early on that I'm quite shallow. But,
Tell me the very first time that love hits you that felt like, oh my God, now I understand the meaning of love. Now I understand the butterflies that people talks about.
mm, I think you really, yeah, it was a person that I remember being at a party and just catching this person looking at me and me looking at them. And there's all of this chaos going on, and everybody's got their own conversation, and we're just kind of locked eyes across the party.
I
And it's
love
just,
it.
it's just a simple smile, that
Yeah,
even amongst all, I was at one end of the room and she was at the other end of the room. We weren't joined at the hip, but we were thinking about each other.
I
Yeah,
love it.
yeah, that was a nice moment.
Oh, sweet. Do you fall in love easily, or for you it takes time for you to somehow get connected with someone in a romantic way?
I think that I am open to the idea of falling in love easily. But as I get older and my life experience unfolds, I can see the dangers in that. It's very easy to take somebody and put them on a pedestal, you know.
Right.
And
Yeah.
then I've had situations where I've been so obsessed with a person that I have ignored all of the red flags. And then
Right.
And then it takes about 3 months. And once that 3 month period is over, all you've got is all of these red flags. And you're like, oh dear, how
Where
did,
when the honeymoon finished, that's what they say.
yeah, yeah. So now I'm a little bit more cautious about falling in love because I'm aware of this honeymoon period. And it's not just me and how I feel. It's like they project the same thing
Tot-
onto me as well. So it's like,
Totally.
you know, and as you get older and wiser in relationships, you notice this and you have to kind of put a little bit of restraint on what you do, which is sad, really, because
Yeah.
you're holding yourself back from something potentially beautiful.
I'm gonna share a fun fact with you. It's talking about your first crush, this girl with this long hair that, back in Brazil, I was 12 years old, and my first love was a girl, my first
Mhm.
love, and she was sitting in a classroom in front of me. Her, actually, I still in touch with her, and she had this long hair, beautiful black long hair,
Mhm.
and I remember, like, the thing is, when you're a child, you don't have these scenarios about sex or love. You just like the person
Mhm.
itself. And I loved, she was sitting, in front of me in the classroom, and we were always talking, and I loved her presence and her long hair as well, her long hair. And it's so interesting that one day, like, genuinely, those like pen cases when you put your pen, your thing, like a
Mhm.
little case.
Yeah.
I wrote my name, William, and I wrote her name, and I made the hearts between,
Yeah.
like, so genuine. And again, I just did that. Don't think that I was in love with her, but I just love her presence. So a friend of mine, she's a evil. I'm still very close with her as well. Still until this
Mhm.
moment. She back in Brazil. She said, William, can you lend me one of your pen? I said, yes, take my case, just take it.
Mhm.
She literally opened my case and she saw the note there.
Mhm.
She stand up in the classroom and she said, "Oh my God, William loves this person."
Mhm. Yeah.
I never felt so embarrassed at the time. And her girl in front of me, she didn't talk to me for 2 years because she was so embarrassed and she saw that I was. Can you imagine? My first love was my broken heart at the same time as well. Can you imagine how sad? Anyway, we reconnect afterwards again and we laugh about
Yeah.
the situation. But it was a situation, and I forgave this friend because we are still very good friends.
Yeah. Well, it's stories like that that define who we become. And when
Yeah,
when I work with people in hypnotherapy, we do something called regression. So you might be experiencing right now, like this might be a scenario for you. It's just hypothetical, so I'm not imposing this on you. But let's say
right.
you had a little bit of anxiety with approaching women, right? What we would do is we would get you to sort of feel that feeling in the hypnotic space, where it is and how it manifests. And then we do something called regression, which is where I get you to go back in time to the point where you first experienced this. And your subconscious mind is a really intelligent being. And when it's engaged, it will take you back like a time machine to a specific moment in time. And what would happen is you might get taken back to this whole pencil case incident. So, as a therapist, what I would do is I would get you to play the role of where you are and explain what's going on. And you would tell me the story you've just told me. And then
Yeah.
what I would do is I would get you to switch places with the other people in this story and get
Wow.
them to talk to you about why they did it. And then what you have is a conversation backwards and forwards between yourself and these characters that were present during that time.
Yeah.
It's a form of rapid transformational therapy because you see the incident from different points of view. You
Right.
also are given an opportunity to express how you really feel in the moment and get that
Hmm.
out of your system. And then you can also forgive those people and then come back to the normal state. And that's how
Um,
we can take a past traumatic event that's having effect on your current situation and transform it so that you no longer feel those feelings. So, perfect example of the type of work that's done in hypnotherapy.
Amazing. Very good. 3 questions left. Let's do it. Okay, so before the next question, so what do you like the most about your job? Being a hypnotherapist, what's the biggest joy of it?
It is when somebody comes to me who's been dealing with something for such a long time and they've tried everything that they can possibly think of to fix it. They've read copious amounts of books. They've done lots and lots of talk therapy, talking through the situation. And they come to me because they've tried everything else. And then, they come out of the session and you can see that the shoulders drop. that they're visibly more relaxed. They've often got more color in the face too.
Wow.
And then you follow up a week later, and there's hope there because the issue that they've been struggling with for so long is no longer a problem, and there's hope that it's gone forever. So
Wow.
we strengthen that, and then we help them to move on. That's the rewarding part about it, is being a part of the healing process, you know.
Hmm.
It's extremely rewarding, and it's always very surprising as well, you know.
Wow.
Sometimes the people you think, this may not work with them. They're too strong-minded. They're too in their own head. They've already decided that they're stuck here forever. And then a
Wow.
week later, the problem's gone. You know, people who smoke, they've smoked for 40 years. Now they don't smoke anymore. You know, the
Interesting.
color comes back to their face. You can see the health in them. It's extremely
Wow.
rewarding.
Is there any challenge about the careers that you faced so far or not?
Say that again. Any
Is there,
challenge?
is there any challenge the work that you do, based on your experience or not? There is any so far that you,
Yeah, the main challenge is getting people to dispel with the old idea of what they think hypnosis is. They
I
think
see.
it's magic. It's not magic. If it looks like magic sometimes, it quite often it feels like magic, but really all of the power is not with me. It's with them. You know,
Right.
it's an internal power that I help them to discover. I don't have any power over their mind. I have the keys to the subconscious. And then the subconscious does its thing. And whatever happens, happens, and we deal with it as it emerges. But I have no power. It's all about personal power. And
I see.
the world is kind of full of coaches and experts right now who have the answers to every single problem. But all of
Mhm.
the answers to all of your problems are within.
Well, great. Next question for you is, tough question now.
Mhm.
If your plane was going down and
Mhm.
you could call just one person to say goodbye, who that would be and why?
Ooh. Hmm. Probably my mother. Yeah. Keep it simple. My mind immediately went to playing a practical joke on somebody. But in actual fact, it would probably be my mother. But then again, my mother has a slight phobia of flying, so she's the last person I would want to call. Um, maybe one of my brothers.
Wow.
Yeah.
And which person in your life or in your family, right now, when you're feeling the lowest for some reason, and when you're feeling the greatest, you feel like, oh my God, I need to share this news, or I need to open up a little bit, or there's a person that comes to your mind?
You mean if I'm celebrating a win, if I want to share some good news?
Celebrate you're feeling lowest or feeling down for some reason. For both occasions, this person comes to your mind.
Well, actually, my business partner and mentor, Nigel, he's the guy who set me on the path of becoming a hypnotherapist. He's the guy that brought me into the business I talked about, Harmonify. Um, he is a very he's a very spiritual and very scientific person at the same time.
Hmm.
So we can talk about ideas about
That
spirituality and
I like that.
science, you know?
Yeah.
So we have both of us have our foot in two different worlds and we're trying to bring them together in any way that we can, you know?
Wow.
So when I have a problem, I already know the answers to it, but I talk to Nigel about it just to get confirmation of it, you know?
Wow.
So I'm like, "Oh, I'm dealing with this at the moment," and then he'll tell me what I was thinking. I'm like, yeah, no, I just wanted confirmation from a psychological point of view, because as a psychotherapist, he has a deeper understanding than most people do. And he doesn't offer advice either. He just says, this is what you're going through. Other people, you say, I'm having this problem, and they've got a big list of things that you can do that they probably wouldn't follow if they had the same problem themselves, you know?
Wow.
So Nigel tells the truth, and I go to him when I'm down, and also when I'm up, when I'm celebrating a win. I like to share that with Nigel too.
Okay, so Nigel is watching this interview right now, and you have a moment, an opportunity to send him a message. What would you say? He's watching.
Thank you for seeing the talents within me that I didn't realize I had.
Beautiful. Wow. It's funny you say about, the science and spirituality. There's a movie called I Origins. I Origins? Yeah, I Origins. It's a
Uh-huh.
great movie. I don't know if you watched it. She's from a beautiful girl from Argentina, and this man from the US. He's a scientist, and she's so spiritual and she's so beautiful. Trust me, the movie, oh my God, it's a contrast because he's a scientist and she's a spiritual person, big
Hmm.
time. Oh my God, Adam, the end of the movie is the most beauty, like literally. The whole movie is very interesting, gets your attention. You know those movies when you cannot stop watching until the end?
Yeah.
This one. And the final, like one of the final scenes on when they reach a point that they need to, explain the junction between both and how they believe and everything. It's what
Hmm.
I like the most about the movie. You make your own decision at the end of the movie because there's a situation that I'm very I consider myself to be a spiritual person, and I
Hmm.
think that it says a lot about spirituality, not just that, science as well, of course.
Yeah.
You live in both worlds,
Hmm.
but I think there is a balance, there is a connection there somehow, and I love the movie. I Origins. It's a quite interesting movie,
I will.
and
I'll check it out. What would you define as your spirituality? How do you what conclusions have you come to at this stage in your life?
great question. You were asking the question before in the end of the interview. I'm
No,
joking.
no, I've got another
It's
one for
okay.
that.
I know. I'm just teasing you. For me, being spiritual is very personal. For me, spiritual and how you connect your life, yourself with your surrounding, yeah,
Mhm.
with the nature, with people, with challenges, with happiness, with sadness, with yourself, with your day. So
Mhm.
for me, being spiritual, it's a daily connection with yourself and your surrounding. My God, I never said that before. I'm so like naturally saying that.
Mhm.
Yes, for being spiritual, it's about there is something around us that is talking to us.
Mhm.
Life is talking to us every moment, every second, every situation. And I think that's what I believe is being spiritual. It's your connection. It doesn't need to be connected with religion. It's about yourself and how we approach your surrounding, your
Mhm.
messages, your daily routine. Everything is about being spiritual for me. That's how I approach it.
Yeah, yeah, this is a good point. One of my other mentors, Dr. John Butler, mentioned that the word religion comes from the idea to relate.
Hmm.
So if you're within a particular religion, it's just how you relate to the world. And
Yeah,
then some people are inventing new philosophies like the simulation theory. So if you think of simulation theory, we're all in a simulation, then
yeah,
religions are kind of like operating systems. And you
yeah.
know that like if you're a Mac user or a PC user, operating systems don't work well together, but they both do the same thing. So
Yeah,
whether you're a Muslim, whether you're a Catholic, whether you're a Protestant, whether you're a
totally.
Buddhist, we're all just trying to find a way to relate to our environment and understand things on a deeper level. And sometimes we
Absolutely.
need a set of rules to keep us on track, you know.
Totally.
But when you look at religion and you look at, the teachings of Jesus Christ, for instance, essentially when you take away the rest of the book and just look at what Jesus said, he essentially told us to be good to each other. He told us that we're already forgiven for our sins. Just try not to keep sinning, that we are loved and that all of the answers are within. Um, the rest of it is just written by other guys who knew him.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a very broad being spiritual. I think for me is very personal. Literally, I find it very personal because, as you said, it doesn't even if you feel like spirituality can be connected with religion as well. Absolutely, there are no rules or yeah, I think it's about how you feel and how you approach or how you believe and how you connect. And there's a higher force anywhere that you believe that somehow is guiding you. Why not? You know what I mean? That's how I believe.
Hmm.
Two questions left. Let's do it. Do you like dancing?
I do. I love it. This is why I'm doing the interview. It was your dance moves alone that convinced me to put the time into this.
Really? I'm from
Yeah.
Brazil. I'm from Brazil. Brazilian people have it's in our blood. Somehow we need to be moving somehow.
Yeah,
Amazing.
I'm British. We have the exact opposite of whatever that is.
Next question is, what does money mean to you?
Money is a representation of the flow of energy,
Hmm.
and that is it. We can. You see, the thing with energy is we don't quite know what energy is. We just know that it can't be created or destroyed. It just is what it is. Money isn't created or destroyed. It's just the representation of the flow of energy. you know? So if you want more money in your life, you have got to tap into a source of energy. You know, like if you look at things like the law of attraction, which is a popular spiritual philosophy about manifesting reality. And then if you look at it from my perspective as a person who deals with the subconscious, if you want more money, you need to tune into the opportunities to create more money. So you're tuning into an energy. Yeah. So there's two ways of making money. Number one is go and give up your time and your skills and receive some energy. So that's a transactional flow of energy. But sometimes money comes in ways that you don't expect if you're open to them. So if you're an entrepreneur, generally entrepreneurs are quite open to these energetic realms. So if you want more money to come into your life, you've got to get your mind right. You've got to be able to tune into those opportunities and act upon them as well. Because
Wow.
money is not going to magically flow into your bank account without you doing something. So you have to get involved in the creative process to make money happen. But when you
Yeah.
detach the ideas of money and realize that it is just the representation of the flow of money, it's a representation of energy moving in different directions, and take away all of the emotions we attach to it, it becomes easy to engage in the process of making it, creating it, and giving it away. You know, but it's all just energy. That's all it is. I can take my money and I can convert it into food and I can feed the homeless. Or I can take my money and buy a gun and shoot the homeless. But the money has
Right.
nothing to do with any of it. It's just the flow of energy. It's what you do with that energy that counts.
And do you believe that money can bring happiness?
I believe that the lack of money can bring sadness.
Hmm?
So, but money doesn't, you see, money doesn't create happiness. It depends on what you do with the money. You know, if you choose to give that money away and that gives you happiness, it can create happiness. If you
Mhm.
choose to hoard it and hold on to it and keep it all for yourself and be stingy and selfish, you can live in a mansion, but nobody will want to come and visit you, you know?
Right.
So it's a complicated question. Having money can create happiness if you know what to do with it, but money is energy. Energy can be used in positive and negative ways. So you've got to stop think of it as a thing and start to look at it as energy, and then what you do with the energy is what counts.
And do you believe that happiness is a choice?
Happiness is 100% a choice in any situation.
Right.
You know, you only need to look at some of the more famous Russian writers to realize that happiness is a choice. If you can create happiness in a gulag, you're locked up and your freedom has been taken away, and you maintain an element of mental freedom and create happiness, even though your environment is completely different, then yeah, happiness is a choice, and
Mhm.
sadness is a choice. But like any choice, sometimes, it's a very simple philosophy to say it's just a choice. Sometimes things happen and you can't help but feel sad. It's part of being human. So there's a
Totally.
balance between choosing and experiencing.
I get it. Last question. Ready?
Hmm.
As you lived in Portugal and you spent some time in Spain, and of course Spanish and Portuguese. Do you know how to say last question in Portuguese or Spanish?
So no, no, mate. I'm British. We have like an allergy to learning other languages. I learned enough Spanish just to get by and go shopping. And then when I went to Portugal and tried to learn Portuguese, all of the Spanish I learned was just a hindrance because I was confused, you know?
Okay, so I'm gonna teach you how to say last question in exactly the same way that we both say. So,
Something pregunta.
última pergunta. Yes,
Yeah,
última
yeah.
pergunta. I mean, you're just modest. Yeah, you know everything. Just modest.
I,
Let's
I
do.
know I know some individual words, but it's connecting them into logical sentences is where I have a problem. So I can point at things and name them, and I know words, but I don't know language.
Last question. Let's do it. Okay, before the last question, tell me, I'm sure for your career, you had, patients or clients, people that you had some situation that's it's been remarkable for you, for sure. You have some situation that's never gonna forget. But if you can share one that's when you think about it, you always gonna hold close to your heart.
Yeah, I mean, it happened last week actually. I met a guy who I rented a room from him when I was coming back to the UK to go and apply for a visa for Portugal. So I rented a room on a short term, and I met a guy who on the phone he sounded like a very astute guy. So I just agreed to rent the room without looking at it. It was only for 1 month or 2 months, so it didn't matter. But when I turned up, the guy was very, very overweight and he was suffering. He had agoraphobia, which is the agoraphobia, however you pronounce it, the fear of going outside. And I got to learn a bit about him, and it turned out that he'd been having panic attacks. And he was so scared of having panic attacks that his only safe space in the world was his house.
Wow.
Now, part of me was annoyed because he said on the advert for the room that he was working away and he wouldn't be there during the week, which is a complete lie. That being said, I really like this guy. He was a very intelligent guy, but he was in his head. You know, his whole world was just in his head. So now his whole world was in his house, but within his house, he was completely in his head. So I did some work with him last week, and I waited until I was a little bit further into my training because he's a complex case. And I did a session with him, and um, he was going to do what's called exposure therapy, where a member of a charity was going to come and take him for a walk and make sure that he was okay, to expose him to the thing that he fears.
Hmm.
And he sent me a voice message last week telling me about his experience. That instead of freaking out, his mind was saying, "This is when you have a panic attack," and his body was saying, "We are not having a panic attack. We're enjoying a nice walk in the park."
Wow.
And the guy has been stuck in his house for years and years. And 2 hours on a call like this, just a video call, and we've managed to shift his perception. So now I've given him some of his freedom back.
It's amazing.
And I'll be speaking to him next week and I'll be strengthening that. And eventually I'm going to get him out there and get him back to the man that he once was.
Have you forgiven him about he lied about the staying at
Oh,
home?
it was forgiven. It was forgiven the moment I realized it happened. You know, it was annoying, but it's like, you know, it is what it is. Yeah, it was forgiven. I've not mentioned this to him.
I'm
But
too late.
yeah, it's fine. I was only there for a month.
I'm joking. I'm joking. I think somehow he meant to cross your path. I believe that for sure.
Yeah, I think on occasion the people that need you are put in your path. And
Totally.
if you're willing and ready, you can help. And it works the other way too. You know, I'm constantly being sent teachers and mentors and lessons.
Amazing. Last question is describe yourself in 3 words.
Hmm. Um, Ambitious, driven, idiot.
A negative one.
A negative one,
Just one negative about you.
impatient.
What's your star sign astrology, Adam?
I'm an Aries.
Arius. So you are March, April?
March 24th.
I see. Okay. Oh, I got confused now. Okay, amazing. Right, so the end yet. Let's play now the word association game. Okay, I'm going to say some words. Just tell
Mhm.
one word that comes to your mind. Quick
Okay.
thinking. Let's start with money,
Power,
fear,
hope,
love,
connection,
life,
ongoing,
family,
peace,
religion,
structure.
sex,
Hmm. You just stirred something up within me there. Connection again.
politics,
Fake,
friendship,
conditional,
desire,
dreams,
regret,
lessons,
success,
measurement,
wish,
goal,
happiness.
joy.
One word for England.
What was that last one?
England, one word.
England. Complicated.
One word for music.
Frequency.
Wow. And the last one now, hypnotherapist, one word.
Change.
Amazing. Let's pretend now that I'm going to meet Nigel, yeah, your best friend for a coffee, and I'm going to ask him, what's the most beautiful thing about Adam? What do you think he would say?
Hmm. Energetic.
And something that he still needs to improve on, to work on. What do you think he would say?
Patience. Yeah.
Right, let's play now Adam and the Magic Box, and you can ask me a question. Okay, but before you ask me the question, in your opinion, what's the biggest misconception that people still have regarding hypnotherapists?
They would think it's to do with mind control.
Uh-huh.
So when people approach me, they think that I can control their mind and fix their problems, but they have
Hmm.
an enormous role within the process. And it can be quite easy and it does feel like magic, but they need to understand that the power is within them. It's got nothing to do with me. It's a perfectly normal human condition. So I can give you an example now, William, of a time that you've been in trance this week or this last week. The I Origins movie that you watched, when you watched it, did you feel any emotions?
All the way.
Is it a documentary or is it a fictional
It,
based movie?
it's a fictional movie.
So people think that the trance state is kind of like you're a zombie and you have no control over yourself. But a good example of real trance is when you're watching a movie and you start to feel emotion. Because when you watch the movie, you want the experience of how the movie is going to make you feel. So
Yeah,
what you do is you take all of your logic and you put it to one side for a moment to have this experience of a movie. So when the main character in the movie has a sad event or there's a death and you feel emotion, on some level you know that that's an actor and this is fake, yet
yeah,
you feel the emotion regardless. So that is the type of trance. And also when you drive a car, and you arrive at your destination and you can't remember anything about the drive. You don't remember any of the junctions. You don't remember what was on the road. You were so deep in your own thoughts that the driving was automatic. That's called highway hypnosis. So
right.
trance is a normal part of the human condition. We just use it to have an impact on some of the fixed ideas that are causing them problems. So yeah, that's the misconception that we deal with.
I see.
Trance isn't mind control, it's controlling the mind.
Amazing. Okay, Adam, you can ask me a question now.
Yeah, so you speak to all different kinds of people, like such a wide variety of different types of people from all over the world.
Yeah.
So what is the unifying characteristic that you see in everyone and within yourself?
What a great question, Adam. What a great question. And the answer comes straight away. I think, Adam, what I realized talking to so many different people from different parts of the world, I think what I realized is all of us, including myself, we are here navigating through life, and all of us, we are, you know, trying to be a better person every day. I know it sounds cliche, but it's not, because talking to people, I realize that we are navigating, we are trying to achieve things. We are, make business or connecting, traveling. We are doing different things in our lives, but what I feel from people, we are literally navigating, trying to be a better person, to grow or to achieve something, you know what I mean? And I think, of course, everything's about that. I think all of us, it's a natural thing for us to, somehow, for example, people to accept the interview. Like, you are a good example, it's something that I had few situations that people, they said, oh, I'd never done before, but actually I would like to do it.
Mhm.
So for me, just the fact that they accept the invitation, being out of their comfort zone, it's a sign that they want to achieve something. They want to do something about themselves, become a better person, or challenge themselves. So for me, what I realize is, and I'm the same, I love being out of my comfort zone. And then, the other day I heard something very interesting, very, sometimes when you hear things, but somehow you're not ready to take the message, or you know what I mean. Sometimes you know the knowledge, but somehow you didn't see the message, the big picture. I was watching a video the other day, and this lady said, yes, you can be in your comfort zone, you can be doing your things, and if you go out of your comfort zone, I know it hurts. I know. And when she said that, I was like, oh my God, it's so true, because actually it does. For you to improve yourself, it's not going to be easy, not going to be skies and flowers. It will hurt.
Mhm.
Not just like physically, but mentally, everything. And when she said that, I was like, oh my God, it makes so sense. Because when you decide to go out or to step out of this gentleman you said about, going out of his house and all of that, I think it does hurt. It's not easy for you to do it. But you have a
Hmm.
choice. Or you want to take this pain and, improve yourself, or you want to be comfort there and, knowing. But I think the worst is you are there, but you know that you need to step out or do something. So back
Hmm.
to your question, I would say that I think all of us, we have that. I realize that all of us, we are navigating through life and trying to become a better person in different aspects of our lives.
Mm.
And when I start understanding that, because sometimes people go like, oh, I actually never done that before. And I had situations that people said no. And after a while, they send me a message, actually, William, I'd love to do it.
Hmm.
So, I see there wasn't ready for them at the time. So I started realizing that sometimes it's not every day that a crazy man invites you to do a questions in the magic box anyway. So he's not ready
Well,
yet. I know.
what I love about what you do is I look through some of your videos, and I'm big into podcasts. I love Joe Rogan, Chris Williamson, Andrew Huberman, Lewis Howes. I love this conversational form of entertainment. But when you watch those shows, you're always talking to an expert. It's somebody who is at the top of their field in neuroscience, somebody who just wrote a best-selling book. But I think it's human nature that everybody on some level wants to be seen and heard. And you're kind of providing an opportunity for people who maybe have a story, but they don't have anybody who wants to listen to it, you know? So
Totally.
you're creating a completely new space within podcasting. And I think that's really cool.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Adam. And I think, everyone has something to share or to, and sometimes they even don't know. Sometimes they think, I have some situations as well. People are like, "Oh, I have a boring life, really. I don't have anything to share." And I love when they say that because I take it as a challenge. I get, wait a minute, let's do the interview and you'll see how much. And they go like, "Wow, the
Mhm.
questions make them just open up." And so yes, your question is great, and I realized that including myself, we are here navigating. You just want to become a better person, in different aspects or different ways of life, and I think that's what I realized doing the interviews. It's I believe that for sure. Yeah, that's my answer.
Mhm.
Amazing.
Brilliant.
Did you enjoy the interview?
Yeah, very much. Some of the questions caught me off guard. It's like you have this personal identity, so sometimes it's easy to answer the questions, but then sometimes you get asked a question that you haven't considered, and then you get to have a look at who you really are.
Totally, yeah, absolutely. That's why I like the questions. It's like thought provoking, makes you
Mm.
to understand a bit more about yourself. Thanks again, Ad. I love the way you approach life. I love your easy talking. I love your passion as well about your career, your job, you're helping others. I think that's the main thing about helping people. I think it's great for us to be able to, somehow helping others and give a different way of seeing life and living a different life. So I appreciate your time. I appreciate for you to explain a little bit more about that as well,
Thank
because
you. Thank you for having me.
there's stigmas there and people need to break. And before you go, if you can share a positive quote or a positive message, anything that you live by.
Yeah, I mean, I really like Stoic philosophy. I was tempted to go to Marcus Aurelius and bring up some of my favorites, but because of my recent experiences this year, I came up with this one. So, this comes from Earl Nightingale, who wrote a book called The Stranger's Secret, which is interesting because the book The Secret about the law of attraction is essentially this book rewritten, and this is 100 years old. And he says that whatever we plant in our subconscious mind will nourish with repetition and emotion and will one day become reality.
Wow, love it. Amazing. Thanks again. Enjoy your weekend and keep in touch, okay? It was a pleasure
No
having you.
problem. God bless.
Take care. Bye
See you
bye.
later. Bye.
Bye. So, did you like the show? Don't forget to give a like, to share it, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to be part of the show as well, first, subscribe to our channel, and after that, just go to our website, www.williamandthemagicbox.com, and send us a request saying why would you like to be part of the show. And I see you there. Bye bye. See you next time.